Welcome back to Let's Play Persona, or welcome back to Let's Read Tutorials. Personas are the powers taken from demons that will be your strength. Each of you can take on as many as 3 personas at once. Of the 3, only one can be actively invoked during battle. To invoke a persona is to summon it in combat. The other 2 will remain sleeping within you on standby. Personas on standby are ready to be assumed at any time during battle. You could say that understanding your persona's powers is key to survival. To take on a persona is to prepare one in this room to be assumed in battle. Those personas you have taken on can be actively assumed elsewhere. However, you cannot take on personas higher than the user's persona level. Personas are similar to demons in that way. Push yourself too hard with a low persona level and your mind can be taken over. Various assumed personas grant various abilities. Without the power of persona, you are no different than an ordinary human. You will be powerless before the arcane might of the demon's spells. If by chance you were hit by a spell in that state, you would be struck down. But by taking on a persona, your defense against spells is considerably enhanced. For some, it may also confer strength, or increase luck for others. This too is the power of persona. Though they are called personas, each is a hidden side of yourself. I suggest you examine your status carefully after assuming one. That way you can see which of your qualities have changed. Personas are distinguished by order, too. You will find that you are incompatible with some orders of persona. A persona's order will affect you, particularly in battle. Take care not to collect too many of the same order of persona. At first you will be unable to harness your persona's powers to the fullest, but each time you invoke a persona, its rank will slowly increase. In other words, you could say that they will grow. When that growth reaches a certain level, you will have more options in battle. Even if your persona learns a powerful skill, the SP required remains constant. Every persona will grow 7 times. If it starts at rank 1, it will rise to rank 8. Personas that seem weak at first may eventually display surprising strength. You will grow in combat, but do not forget that your personas grow as well. There is a sort of affinity between humans and personas. Not only does this affect whether you may take on a persona, it also determines whether or not that persona's potential may be invoked. I would recommend choosing personas you have a high affinity with. There are many wonderful things about the potential personas hold. They are displayed when the persona user is in certain situations. At these times, they will interrupt the user to unleash special abilities. However, whether this potential is displayed all depends on your affinity. Affinity is indeed quite important. Spell cards are necessary to create new personas. You will not gain strength only by defeating the demons. At times you must negotiate with them and make them eager to know you. If you succeed, the demons may give you a spell card. By fusing demons summoned with the spell cards, you may create new personas. Gather as many spell cards as you can to create even stronger personas. The moon waxes and wanes from full to half, crescent to new. Many things are affected by the phase of the moon. Near full moons, demons are easily excited, affecting your encounters. In addition, the moon's phase may also have an effect on persona creation. Even the items sold in stores seem to change according to the moon's phase. Spell cards are not the only component one may use when creating personas. It is also possible to use various items in fusion. Mind you, not all items fused with a persona will enhance its abilities, but many things, such as weapons, guns, stones, and gems, will trigger changes. Gems are particularly useful in fusing higher or lower personas within an order. Some items, known as totems, have strong associations with certain entities. By including a totem during fusion, it is possible to create specific personas, very powerful personas that can only be attained here. In order to create the strongest personas, totems are absolutely vital. My role is to assist you in giving birth to new personas. If you'll allow me to use your spell cards to summon those demons, I'll fuse them together, thereby giving life to a new persona. Usually, fusion results in personas of a higher level than their component cards, but you cannot create personas over 10 levels higher than yours. Such personas would refuse to obey you and be very dangerous. You also cannot create a persona that we are already looking after, and I regret to say that spell cards used as fusion materials will be lost. Using multiple cards in a fusion will leave you with fewer spell cards. What you gain and what you sacrifice. It's best to consider this carefully. There are several types of fusion. To begin with, let us consider guided fusion. This will display the personas that can be made using the spell cards you hold. After this, the spell cards that will be used are displayed. If there are multiple recipes, choose a desired recipe from the list. Guided fusion makes it easy to create the persona you seek, but it will be difficult to grasp the status fluctuations and fusion accidents. There is also manual fusion, which allows you to play more of a role. In this type, you select 2 spell cards that you would like to fuse together. You may then see cross-order affinity, status changes, type fluctuations, and, alas, the likelihood of fusion accidents. It is somewhat daunting, but also more flexible once you are accustomed to it. You may find something of a pattern to the card's order that affects the results. Then again, there seem to be some which do not fit the pattern. Perhaps you should experiment with different methods of your own. All demons fall into one of several categories. You could classify them by main type, subtype, main order, and suborder. Personas lack main and suborders, and are grouped by order, type, and subtype. Not only do these indicate their natures, they are very important in fusions. For example, fusing 2 of the same type tends to result in increased power, but fusing 2 opposed types increases the risk of fusion accidents. The same is true for order. Fusing 2 like orders makes for a stronger persona, whereas fusing incompatible orders will result in a weaker persona. When fusing like orders, the first card chosen dictates the inheritable skills. Types and orders are only a few of the trickier aspects of fusion. The only sure way to learn is through the experience of trial and error. At times, a newly created persona will inherit skills from its fusion components. In this way, you may make personas with skills they would not normally possess. Do not overlook this principle when you seek to create powerful personas. The theory behind skill inheritance is, alas, somewhat murky. But we know the spell cards used must not have clashing orders. The type of demon granting the inherited skill is also a factor. Know also that the number of skills a persona can hold is limited, and certain special skills cannot be passed down. You should keep this in mind when fusing. It pains me to say this, but our methods are not as precise as I should like. Rare though they are, there are times when an accident will occur in fusion. Should this happen, the persona will likely not be the one you aimed for. I have no way of predicting the result of a fusion accident, but then, isn't that the way of fate? The Velvet Room is quite spacious, but even so, there is a limit to how many personas we can look after here. 16 and no more. If you have reached that limit, you will be unable to create new personas. Remember to clear out unneeded personas in order to make room for new ones. Personas that reach the maximum rank of 8 will not grow any further. They are powerful in that state. However, if you request that I discard such a persona, the power of your constant companion will be released, leaving behind a tangible memento of your time together. It may be a weapon, some armor, or possibly a gem. The process is, in fact, the only way to obtain certain extremely rare items. the nature of the item you may attain through this process. That is for you to discover. Each demon and persona is classified by type. There are 4 main types, such as element and force, as well as 16 subtypes, such as fire and death. These indicate both the demon's nature as well as its strengths and weaknesses. For example, element demons tend to be weak to attacks and strong versus spells. Contrariwise, force demons resist attacks but tend to be weak to spells. In terms of subtypes, fire demons are weak to ice and resistant to fire. Taken together, an element fire demon would resist fire spells, possibly even absorbing them. But those same fire spells would wreak havoc on a force water demon. Do you understand a little better now? You must grasp your persona's strengths and weaknesses before doing battle. Phew, that does it for all the tutorial stuff. Well then, farewell. Now, last time I played this game, when I went to the next area we're going to be going to, I got my butt kicked, so I'm going to do a little more preparing before I head there, off-screen. Then I'll pick it back up and show you what new personas and equipment, if any, I have and whatnot, and we'll continue the story. Until then, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.